Hey guys, what's going on? So today I'm gonna do some things on the 240 that I've needed to fix for a while now. Nothing too major. One of them I probably won't really be able to get to because I have a little pinhole leak in my fuel tank and it's still at about a half a tank, so I want to drive it until it's pretty much empty. Let's look at what needs to be done. So starting off, if you couldn't tell, this battery terminal is really messed up. You just get the cheap ones from Walmart, and I'm always taking it apart back and forth and over torquing it because this battery is really messed up. So I got a new better terminal that might work. I might redo some of this wiring here because that looks a little sketchy. The negative terminal looks fine. I'm probably not going to mess with that one, and it also does not have a tie down at all. So I got a little universal one that I'm going to try to use, and we'll go from there. Okay, just so there's no, so I'm not gonna have sparks flying around, I'm gonna disconnect the negative terminal here real quick, which I believe that's just a 13 mil. Should pop right off. And let's get this battery out. This was underneath on my battery tray. That makes me want to do rust repair. One day I plan to just kind of cut this out, and then if I don't do a battery relocation in the back, I'll probably just, I don't know, make some spots for a custom tie down. Okay, and then I believe these are two 10 millimeters holding this terminal on. And you can see all these frayed wires on here. Also, I recommend if you're doing this on your car to wear gloves because sometimes there's corrosion on these terminals and it's really acidic. Alright, so now that we undid these two bolts, this will just slide right here and you can see this all squished down in here, and that's the terminal. If you're wondering how this works, this design of a terminal at least, which it's alright to get you by, is the bolts go down in here like this on the top, and then on the bottom you got the nut here, and that slides in. Kind of throw it on there a little bit. That slides in down there, and that hex design will naturally lock it in place so it can tighten down, and that's what clamps that together, which is pretty much the same design as my other one. This one's just not the best quality. Kind of wish I bought some new wire for this. I'll work with what I got. So here's the new terminal here. It's made out of brass. I guess brass is actually really good at conducting electricity. And it looks like this one's design is the bolts are actually threaded into here already. It's not like a nut design, which in my opinion, that's a little nicer than the other one because sometimes they'd round out or whatever. Let's get this together. Now, as you can see, this wire is really nasty and frayed apart. I'm just gonna get my best. It probably would be better to just get a new one, try and solder just a new one in or something, but I don't got that right now, and I just need to get this terminal on. So if you remember, this one's pretty much the same design. You just unscrew these, piece comes undone, and that's what clamps down on this wire here, which allows you to connect it to the battery. So we'll just undo these. And you want to try and keep it as flush as you can on there, and you don't want wires fraying apart because if it shorts on something, that wouldn't be good. And you want to take a little bit of pride in your work. Before we start, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and I like to use some dielectric grease. This just helps prevent corrosion from building up. And again, I kind of like to go overkill with things, so I like to put it on the wire just a little bit. I might have overdone a little bit there. You don't want to just, get it all over, coat everything, get it nice. And then you want to put it in here because that's where it's going to be resting at. Wouldn't hurt to put it on the top piece too. You get the fasteners. It does look like, again, that these are an 11 millimeter. Don't want to over tighten them and strip them out. Just need them pretty snug to clamp onto that wire. These feel pretty nice. Give it a light tug and feel and make sure that it's tight. You know, tighten as much as you need to. If it gets too much, just make sure that these connections, if you have any, are really tight. In some applications, these might not want to touch, but I know in mine it's fine. So just make sure you know what you're doing before you start messing with this stuff. So now we should be able to put the battery back in. Before I put everything back in, I do think I'm gonna kind of clean my battery a little bit though. So I'm gonna do that. All right, here we are. I got the battery out of the car. I recommend cleaning it out of the car, because if you clean it with it on the car, you'll probably be knocking that corrosion all over the place and it'll get into places that you don't want it to be in. But maybe that's just me overthinking it. I got these little pads that I'm gonna take off. And then I just got a mixture here of hot water and baking soda. Before we throw it all back together again, I'm going to use some dielectric grease. And then I'm going to put some on the new terminal inside here. Negative terminal looks like it's already got some on it, but now it wouldn't hurt before you start tightening this down is to double check these little clamps bolted down. Looks like it is indeed a 13. But that is what usually takes these out, is over tightening them. You don't gotta be super tight, just hold it, see if it's gonna move. If not, then you're solid. I should probably get one for the negative terminal soon. And the reason why I say that, because you can just see how much it's kind of getting squished together in there, and it really isn't getting much good of a clamping force as compared to this one. This one's already tightened down really good, and you can see that it's not squished together. And this one, I can still move it, and that's, you know, that pretty much looks like it's tightened already. So I'll have to do that soon. Sometimes if these really don't want to tighten, if you need to just, you know, get it home or get it by like me, you can kind of separate it with a flathead. I just got this Craftsman flathead screwdriver here. I don't know if I got a part number for it, but you can do that and really get it pushed down on there good. And then that sometimes helps a little bit, but this thing's so stripped that I doubt we'll be able to get very far. I'm actually going to start this with a ratchet. You don't want to jump across. You can see how these are getting really close. You want to be really careful. Okay, that's about the best I'm going to be able to get for that for now, until I get another one of these connectors. I really should have just got another one. For now, we'll make sure everything works. This feels really good, this new terminal. Now let's see if the car starts, and that's usually a good way to tell if you don't got a connection right. If you try to turn the key and it just clicks or something, usually you got something going on. All right, First off, lights work good, so that's a good sign. Prime the pump. Sounds good. Make sure it's not in gear. Sounds good. I already kind of had a slow cranking issue that's not related to my terminal. You know, it's an S13. But I think we got it. Okay, on to the next thing. We need to get this battery secured now. Alright, so I just bought this little universal connector thingy. I'll put links to all the stuff that I'm using in the description. It's just a universal battery hold down that I got. Sorry, it is a huge mess in the shop right now. I'm so sorry. It's just kind of, you know, the generic design. And it looks like on one side it's gonna work because I can see a hook down there that it's gonna hook into. Really hard to get, but I can see where that's gonna hook into. But there's not one on the front, but I did notice this here, and I guess this is where from the factory it hooks up. So I'm gonna have to make something custom and bend a little bracket, so that'll be a little fun, I guess. As you can see, I'm just gonna get this out of here. It's hooked down there at the bottom. So this side's good. But see, this is just kind of a weird design, but I guess that's how they wanted to do it, how they decided to. So now I gotta make a hook that hooks this down onto there. But I don't know how I'm gonna do it without it being super crooked. Unless I were to extend the bracket somehow. It's alright, I'll mess with it. This is what came in the kit, which obviously I'm not gonna do that. So I'm thinking of some kind of design that bends like this. Hell, I could probably just shorten this to start with. We'll go with that. All right, well, here's what we're working with. So I cut one of these, bent it a little bit to get it to line up the best that I could, you know, and then used my die kit and put some new threads on here. It looks like it's gonna hold it down pretty well. I got this set where it needs to be, so let's throw this in. All right, well, I think that's about the best that I'm gonna get for now with all my DIY stuff. I know that battery ain't going nowhere, so